Hey, you. Yeah, you. Welcome to the Malaka podcast.
Champion. First of all, let me say this before we start off this beautiful podcast. The new NBA champions of 2019 are the Toronto Raptors. I can't tell you how proud I am of these guys. I mean, these guys did everything they had to. They made the shots. They made one of the coolest shots in NBA history. Ding, 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 in. It was like watching art. And that's what it's like when you see a champion at its finest. You just see him or her just kick ass because you know all that struggle is building up towards something and you know it's going to pay off. To be a champion, it really takes a lot of courage, takes a lot of strength, and it takes a hell of a lot of patience. I mean, I've been waiting since 95 and 96 for the Raptors to win a championship. And sometimes it just takes that long. But I'm going to get back to that later, of course. But for now, let's just focus on what it takes to be a champion on planet Earth. Oh, good old Wikipedia. How I look for thee for the answers. But here's what they have to say. A champion, from the late Latin campino, is the victor in a challenge, contest, or competition. There can be a territorial pyramid of championships. Example, local, regional, provincial, state, national, continental, and world champions. And even further, artificial divisions at one or more of these levels. As in soccer, their champions can be accordingly styled. Example, national champion, world champion. So basically, the word champion basically means that you've worked your ass off so much that you have to go to a certain level in order. You know what? Fuck that. You got to go through so much shit. I mean, think about it like this. Let's say if you're a simple soccer player, okay? Now, soccer players, a lot of people don't like soccer. They think it's boring. A lot of people don't consider it a sport. I come back and forth on this, but in the end, it's a hell of a fucking sport. I don't give a shit what anybody says. Now, for the most part, what do you need? All you need is a ball. That's why soccer is the number one sport in the world, because all you need is a ball. If you ever have a kid and he tells you he wants to be a hockey player, and even more of a pain in the ass, if he wants to be a goaltender, you better start saving, because it's going to cost you a shitload of money. But all you need is a ball. But what I'm saying is, you start from a kid, from any sport you want. It doesn't even matter. But I'm using soccer as an example because it's very known worldwide. It's number one world in the sport. Because like I said, all you need is a ball. Worst case, you get two garbage cans together, make that a net. Cool, you're set. Now when you're a kid, you obviously just want to have fun. You want to go there, you want to compete. And obviously dealing with a lot of different race of people and personalities. I mean, it's going to be tough out there. It really is, you know? But for you to be a champion and for you to strive through all that bullshit, you don't even listen to these people. In the end, you got to do what you got to do. You got to make sure that you're focused. You study on the craft. It doesn't even matter. Just stay on the path to righteousness. I know. It's a little cliche. And you probably think of some movie where every time they always win at the end, and like everybody, wants the glory and everybody wants to see, people winning in the end. I get that. That is totally cool. But at the same time, people don't see all the bullshit that you got to go through, even on and off the field, or court, or ice rink, or whatever sport you're playing. And that's another thing. It's not just sports. Could be anything. Could be a spelling bee. Could be a Scrabble tournament. It could be basically anything. But to be a champion, you have to have practice. Practice. I mean, what we're talking about here? Practice? Practice. I mean, I know it's a game. You're supposed to, know everything, and like I know you're supposed to lead by example and everything. But like, what are we talking about here? Practice. Practice, not a game that I go out there and put all my heart into, but like practice. I mean, like, I'm sorry, I had a flashback, but Mr. Allen Iverson, you're awesome, still one of my favorite players. But he's right, practice really doesn't mean anything unless you put your all into it. It really doesn't. And he wasn't even doubting the whole concept of practice. It's just more, everyone's got their own little set goals in life, and how they want to be number one. And being number one is basically winning a championship or being a champion by yourself. I always remember the movie Cool Runnings. And, the guy asked him, like, how will I know, if I'm, worthy to be number one or whatever, and like, John Candy's character, like, he plays the coach, and he's like, you know what, if you're not enough without it, you'll never be enough with it. And it's true, I mean, it's nice to have a trophy or, medallion or whatever, it doesn't matter, I got a lot of participation badges. I got some first badges too. I don't care. I just had fun. I mean, a lot of people, they don't even care about being a champion. I mean, they just care more about having fun. Like Mr. Kawhi Leonard. He said, I just want to go out there and have fun. It's a basketball court, 2 hoops, just have some fun. I really hope that next year you do have fun in Toronto and not in LA with the Clippers, okay? That's just my personal opinion. I'm just going to throw that out there. It's got nothing to do with being a champion, but I'm just saying, you can have the dynasty here. Again, I'm getting sidetracked. The point is, when you're a champion, you really have a lot of respect from a lot of players as well, think of Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan, okay, could he have been a billionaire years ago, without all the gambling? Of course he could have. No problem. But at the same time, he wasn't even focused on that. Money didn't really mean that much to him. When he was on the court, he was extremely competitive. Like, he knew he had to have the mentality of winning. Like, Michael Jordan game face. If you ever see that face, like, even when he's like dunking the ball and like he's got his tongue out, it's like, that is a fucking champion right there. I saw this movie years ago called The Replacements with Gene Hackman, Keanu Reeves, a whole bunch of other funny dudes. Like, even Jon Favreau's in it. Jon Favreau's weird. Like, I don't know, sometimes he's an actor, sometimes he's a director, sometimes he's saving people's careers. I don't know, it's just a whole thing with him. But anyways, if you ever see the movie Made that he did with Vince Vaughn, that was an awesome flick. I'm just throwing that out there. But anyways, Gene Hackman's character, he's a football coach. And the whole concept of the movie is that there's only 4 games left or something in the season. All the players go on strike, so he's got to get replacement players. So he gets these dudes who, he thinks that, okay, you know what, some of these guys deserve a second chance, and some of these guys are washed up, but, he doesn't give a shit, in the end, he just wants a good team behind him, and, in many ways, like, if these guys can somehow make the playoffs with just replacement players, I mean, they already won. I'm champions. And there's a part in the movie where, he's losing at halftime, and he doesn't have Keanu Reeves, who played the quarterback, because the other guy crossed the picket line, whatever. He came back, your typical movie dick. And, of course, they're losing, because nobody wants to play with this dude, and nobody, can, gel with this guy. And then Gene Hackman's walking off the field, and, the reporter asked him, like, what do you have to win this game? Like, what do you guys need, And he just, points at his heart. He's like, heart. And she's like, I'm sorry, like, miles and miles of heart. And it's cheesy, I know, but he's right. He's absolutely right. I mean, a champion, you don't win alone. Like, you really don't. You have to have the help of your team around you, and it takes a lot of patience, and it takes even years or whatever just to like build up that relationship where you can trust people. You can trust people all around you, off the court or off the field, whatever. You may not get along with these people, but there's a mutual agreement there. Like I was talking about Jordan. I mean, I heard a story that like Dennis Rodman never even talked to Jordan, like on the court, or not even that much like off the court. And you know what? They won a shitload of games. They won lots of championships, and in the end, if you could just somehow connect with someone, not even on like a deep emotional level, but just, know that you guys want to achieve the same goal of being a champion and winning a championship, then you're already winning. Like, you're right there. Like I said, it takes time. It takes a lot of patience. Speaking of patience, I was waiting for the Leafs to come up here. Last time they won a championship, 1967. I already went through this shit. I'm already out of the tissues from crying so much and other things. But I just, like, what can I say? What can I say about my Leafs that has not already been said? The Raptors won. Now everyone's thinking, okay, now it's the Leafs' turn. But you know what? Sadly, it doesn't work like that. I mean, maybe it will. I mean, I don't know. I really, really hope I'm wrong on this. I really do. But at the same time, like I said before, it takes everyone on the team to gel together. You can have that star player, and in the Raptors' case, I mean, let's just be honest, guys, it really did make a difference having Leonard there. It really did. The guy won MVP, and the guys won MVP twice in the playoffs. So sometimes it does take that key player to win a championship. It takes that one person to, be the quiet genius and, not always joke around and just stay focused, Sometimes you don't even have to stay focused. Sometimes it's just a complete fluke. Not a fluke, but, sometimes it's just being at the right place at the right time, the right type of year. Maybe the weather is nice and sunny. I'll give you a perfect example. When Greece won the Euro Cup in 2004. Now, I'm not going to lie to you. I am half Greek. I've heard every fucking joke out there, from souvlaki to Windex. But at the same time, one of the biggest championships I remember growing up was that one. And to this day, I still have no idea how they won. If you could ask me, name me a player that played that year, I can't. I'm assuming it either ends in OS or AS or, something like that. And it was just an amazing summer. And I remember, I lived close to the Danforth, and even after we won the semifinal there, they still closed the Danforth. I mean, when we won, it was just a constant party. I mean, it was just insane. But I mean, that year, like, we weren't even, I think we were ranked like 36th, and we beat France, who was ranked 3rd. I mean, it was just, like I said, like sometimes like to win a championship, it's just all timing. All the stars are aligned, and sometimes you just can't explain it. It just everything happens for a reason, and that was an awesome reason, and I I enjoyed that reason all summer long. So that's pretty cool. You feel great after your team wins too. I mean, like you yourself, you feel like a champion. You feel like you yourself have accomplished something. You stick with your team for a long time, and it feels even sweeter when it's your nationality. It's your history that wins. I'll tell you one thing that sucks though is when championships are basically won. I mean, I don't understand that. I mean, the thing that always pops in my head is the 1919 World Series. Now, again, I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not the biggest fan of baseball. I mean, I think baseball is kind of a boring sport. I love my Toronto Blue Jays. 92, 93, champions, back-to-back, deja blue. I was there, and it was fucking awesome. And then the next year was the baseball strike, apparently. Everyone was saying that the Montreal Expos were supposed to win. Was this like an American thing where they didn't want all these Canadian teams winning and shit? I don't know. Who knows? I can't say anything. A little suspicious. Not gonna lie. But the game of baseball. Ever since 1919, it's been a little questionable. Let's be honest. It even says here on Wikipedia. The 1919 World Series matched the American League champion Chicago White Sox against the National League champion Cincinnati Reds. Although most World Series have been of the best of 7 format, the 1919 World Series was the best of 9 series, along with 1903, 1920, and 1921. Baseball decided to try the best of 9 format, partly to increase popularity of the sport and partly to generate more revenue. Money, money, money. Anyways, the events of the series are often associated with the Black Sox scandal, when several members of the Chicago franchise conspired with gamblers, allegedly led by Arnold Rothstein. Oh, everything is mafia related here. I don't know. Yeah, but then again, you know what? Back then you could get away with this shit. I mean, listen, a lot of people were placing their bets and they wanted to win the championship the crooked way, and then a lot of these people just wanted to make money on the side, and people were starving, roaring 20s were about to hit, and running out of booze, and I don't know, there was cocaine in every drink for some reason. Anyways, to throw the World Series games, and in 1919, World Series was the last World Series to take place without a commissioner of baseball in place. In 1920, the various franchise owners installed Kennesaw Mountain Landis as the first commissioner of baseball. In August 1921, despite being acquitted from criminal charges, 8 players from the White Sox were banned from organized baseball for fixing the series or having knowledge about the fix. So, do you think these guys were getting paid shitloads of money like A-Rod to do absolutely nothing? No. They were getting paid dick all, and they spoke English. My point is, not all championships are fair. Even years ago, what was it in the NBA? A couple referees were, caught getting paid off there, It sucks. A championship has to be pure. It has to be, it just has to be natural, But I've always said this, once you add money into anything, it's no longer pure. And obviously one of the biggest examples about that is organized sports. And, it sucks. It really does, honestly. Like, it takes away from the game. Even years ago with the whole steroid thing, now they're like, okay, are these guys really champions? Are these guys like really, worthy of, all these records, I heard a thing like in the the Hall of Fame there, they actually have an asterisk of certain things where it says, well, it's consideration of us, at the time it was like, certain illegal elements were involved, and these records could be fixed, and it sucks, man, just seeing that. It really does. Like, it's fucking depressing, like, you want to go to a game and you want to think to yourself, okay, like, everybody involved here is just playing the game because they just want to play. They want to be a champion, at their sport, and they just want to do the best they can. But these guys, yeah, I mean, maybe they're not making enough money, maybe they're they want the championship that bad that they're willing to do whatever it takes. And there's nothing wrong with that, doing whatever it takes, as long as it's legal. Okay? Set an example for the next generation. I mean, I get it. You want to be the best in your field, and you're afraid of losing your job, and I don't know, maybe you got a family to support, and maybe there's a lot more behind the scenes. I get that, but like, is it worth it? Because eventually you're going to be tested. Eventually, it's like, you're going to get caught. I almost hate to say this, but we had shit. I almost feel bad for bringing this shit up, because I'm a Canadian, but Ben Johnson. Now, if you don't know Ben Johnson, he was in the Olympics, and he's a runner, and he got caught with steroids. And to me, I don't get it. Like, I don't, you want to be a champion really, really badly, but they're gonna test you after. You know what I mean? Like, it's gonna show up in your system. Like, I don't know what the fuck he was thinking. But he did get to do those awesome cheetah, energy drinks later on. You're right. I cheetah all the time. So, okay, so, you got a couple bucks for that. But I'm just saying, I mean, it's embarrassing, man. Like, come on, and the whole point of the Olympics, too. I mean, oh my God, like, can you imagine, like, how long these guys have to train, and, and they make absolutely nothing. I mean, they hope best case scenario, they can get in like first, and, I was gonna say maybe second. Okay, yeah, second's nice, but I mean, like, the people that only get the the real endorsement money is first. And again, I'm not saying that you want to be first and be a champion just because you want to get endorsement deals, but that's how a lot of these guys make a living. So, and eventually you're gonna get caught. It's like Michael Phelps. I mean, he won all those medals there, whatever, for swimming. Apparently the guy's got web feet, so I mean, I don't know. To me, that's fucking cheating right there. But anyways, and then he gets caught smoking weed, which is pretty amazing, because considering that, like, you need your lungs and you're still able to smoke weed and get first. I mean, that's pretty cool. But then again, he's endorsing, like, I don't know, all these cereals with sugar in them. So, I mean, like, I don't know, like who gives a shit? I mean, you gotta be stoned to eat that shit anyway. So, like, what's the difference? I mean, my point is, just don't take drugs to help you become a champion. You don't need it. You're gonna get caught. You are. Just say no to drugs. Like, when you're doing, like, sports. If you're at a party smoking weed, that's cool. But other than that, yeah, it's just, stay away from the garbage. Now, in real life, there's lots of cool champions. I've already listed a couple. But I mean, a lot of times we watch movies too. Like Rocky. I mean, you watch Rocky and you're just insanely inspired by that movie. I mean, Rocky is a movie about basically a knockaround guy. A knockaround guy is basically a dude who just, goes around beating the shit out of people, getting collections, for, their group or mafia or whatever the fuck you want to call it. And, later on, well, I mean, he was still, trained to be a boxer, but, he thought he had a shot years ago, and all of a sudden he gets a shot at the champ, Apollo Creed, So, I mean, that alone is like inspiring. I mean, it shows everything he had to go through, all the stuff, his private demons, the fact that nobody wanted him until he became somebody, all the training you have to do to become a boxer. I always tell people this too, like, even in real life, like, if you want to see like how hard it is to be a boxer, like, it doesn't matter what shape you're in, whatever, just for a minute, just shadow box, right, left, right, left, right, left. Or if you're a lefty, left, right, left, right, left, right. And do that for a minute and tell me you won't be exhausted after. I mean, it takes a lot of training, man. Uh, what did Will Smith say when he was making the movie Ali there? I mean, the movie itself was okay. I don't know. I see some specials on HBO about Ali. That was I don't know. I think that was better, to be honest. But he said he gave up sex, and a lot of boxers do give up sex for some reason. I don't know why. While they're in training, it saves energy, I guess. I don't know.
Women weaken knees.
I'm like, oh God, there's a good knee joke there. I'm not gonna touch it, but anyways, yeah. I mean, maybe you just want to conserve your energy, so. Yeah, so to be a champion in that aspect, to see like Rocky just go all the way, and it didn't even matter if like he didn't win, Oh, spoiler alert, whatever. Anyways, yeah, he didn't win, and but he made it all the way, he made the full 12 rounds, and certain movies just get you pumped too, I mean, it just makes you want to just do better too, like. So it didn't even matter if he won the championship. Like, he was still a champion. I mean, he made it all the way. Like, people are going to know who he is now, and they know all the shit he went through, and, it's a made up story, but you know what? Sometimes made up stories are the best ones. Sometimes they're the shittiest ones, like Rocky 5, but whatever. I don't know. I didn't mind Rocky 5. I don't know. Like, I'm not saying it's the. I mean, yeah, for sure it's the worst one out of all of them. Okay, like, obviously, but I mean, I don't know. I always like the part where like he's like, oh, the champ only fights in the ring, and he's like, well, my ring's outside. I always thought that was badass. So, and I get what they were trying to do. They wanted to end it the way they started, him in the street. Then okay. Even Stallone was on the show one day, and they asked him, okay, what do you rank? Rocky 5, 0 to 10. 0. Yeah, so. There's always Creed. And there's always Creed's kid. Anyways. Yeah, so there's also been some kick-ass songs that involve, the whole championship theme, I mean, what's a Rocky montage, without a kick-ass song, Eye of the Tiger, just awesome shit. It really is. But then you think of great songs like, We Are the Champions by Queen. Another one, Bites the Dust by Queen. We Will Rock You by Queen. It all just represents, the whole championship theme, and, how they're going to just kick some ass. And, there was a cool part in the movie where the one guy from Queen, like, he came up with, the whole like foot stomping thing. He wanted to come up with a concept where everybody could, get involved in the song, And it's the same thing too with sports. I mean, that's what makes sports so great, and that's why it brings people together, like the Olympics, We root for our champions, We just want these guys to, do well. And, it's the same thing with the song. You just want to involve people, in the whole championship aspect, or the idea, and it's really cool. Other songs too, like Journey, Don't Stop Believin', pretty cool. You got David Bowie, Heroes. Need I say more? I mean, like all these songs have this like victory theme to it. It's really cool. So, Lose Yourself by Eminem, of course, that's another classic one. But the number one, of course, like I said before, I mean, Rocky, if you get any Rocky soundtrack, and if you're not pumped by it, I mean, there's something wrong with you. You got probably the number one championship theme song of all time, which is Gonna Fly Now by Bill Conti. Now, Bill Conti, he's been doing soundtracks for years, And I mean, if you want a guy that just, set the staple for, the theme of the movie, relating to songs, just give this guy a call. So I just assume he's Italian, Conti. He's got to be. But anyways, yeah, I mean, like even when you work out, I don't know anything about that, but I've been told when you work out, you need a good song to, to motivate you to become a champion. So, you have your earbuds in your ear, and you're just, you're literally just going for it. Rocky 5. I swear that is the last time I will ever mention Rocky 5. But, well, unless you do a Stallone podcast, I don't know, we'll see. The point is, you got to have something to motivate you. And, I honestly don't know how someone can work out and not listen to music. I mean, you always go to gyms, and you always hear like music, and I don't know, a lot of them always play, songs that you've heard like a million times. I mean, that's why people just bring their own fucking music just so they don't, go nuts. And I don't know, Joe Rogan, he has a podcast, actor, comedian, and all that. I heard him once say that he considers listening to music cheating while working out. So, I mean, I can see how that's true. I mean, you should be focused on the workout itself, to train yourself to be a champion. But at the same time, I mean, you got to have fun with it, right? So, I mean, but then again, you know what? Maybe like when you work out to become a champion, you just want to be focused on, what your goal is, and you don't want anything to distract you, So I could see that, I mean, to be a champion, I mean, you really got to be focused on your goal. I mean, you're not going to achieve it in one day, You just really have to stay grounded and just stay focused, like our beloved Toronto Raptors. Oh my God. I mean, that was just fucking beautiful. We beat Orlando. We beat Philly, who I said Philadelphia could have easily beat us. I mean that Magic, the shot of maybe the decade or whatever. I mean, it was just beautiful. But if that didn't go in, I mean, there's a good chance. I mean, they could have beat us in overtime. I always thought they were the sleeper team, And then we beat Milwaukee, Mr. Giannis there, the god, Zeus, the Greek freak, we were able to beat him, And then we beat a team who really knows a lot about champions, or just being in a championship, is the Golden State Warriors. And, I just want to wrap up the podcast with this. Basically, I mean, the Raptors, again, like I said, I'm very proud. But, the Golden State, like if you really take a couple steps back and look at what Golden State has accomplished the last 5 years, I mean, those guys are true champions, You got Stephen Curry, who's just basically, stepped up his game, the last 4 or 5 years, whatever. I mean, the guy, you just give him the ball, 9 times out of 10, he's going to get it in. It's just the way it is. Kevin Durant, he's injured right now, but, he still tried to come back. And, it was unfortunate, he got injured again. And I always told people, the irony is, the whole thing with Leonard is that, he had his injury there. He was told to come back. He's like, no, I'm going to rest. And, I'm not saying that Kevin Durant, listened to the wrong people or whatever. But, Kevin, man, just take time for yourself. Just take the time to relax, Still a young guy, you can come back in a year or whatever, and still dominate, Look what Leonard did. Enough said. And even Klay Thompson, like he got injured in the last game there, and it was so it's so funny watching the Raptors like play this whole championship this year, because it wasn't even just the Raptors that just made it interesting, but it's all the teams we faced as well. I mean, you got Klay Thompson, he got injured, you see him walking away, and he's at home. And he hears everyone cheering for him. And, like he almost had like a second, thought. He's like, you know what? I'm gonna go back there. I'm gonna shoot my three pros, and then after I'm done. I thought that was so cool he did that. I really do. Like I give the guy a lot of respect for doing that. You know, and that whole team. I mean, like even Stephen Curry said after the game, he's like we're not done. Like we're still gonna keep going. And I don't know. I really do hope that whole franchise stays together. I mean, everyone keeps saying like Kevin Durant's going to go to the Knicks and Klay Thompson. He's a free agent too, and it's Curry's team now, and he wants to play the way he wants to play. But it's like, but again, it's all bullshit. You guys don't know what's going on. Like when these guys go out for dinner or chilling by themselves, or when they're with their wives or girlfriends, and like they're champions because they don't give a shit about what anybody else thinks. They know exactly what they have to do, and they do it. 5 years, the last 5 years, those guys have been in the final, and they've won 3 of them. What does that tell you? I mean, who's to say they're not going to be back there next year? When you're a champion and you have the mentality of a champion and you want to strive to be a champion, in the end, the only thing that really matters is just how hard you work and how hard you see yourself working. And honestly, it really doesn't matter what anybody else thinks. I mean, if you got a goal and if you want to be number one in something, then you don't have to listen to anybody else. Obviously, pick up some advice along the way. Look at people that have done it before you, people that have been champions before you, and look at that and see what they have done. See what kind of path they were on. Now, obviously, everyone's from a different family and background, and everyone's been through different things, but it takes but it does take a certain mentality, I do believe, to become a champion. But at the same time, you can learn attributes from other people and find out, okay, what can I do differently in my life to make myself a champion? Who didn't listen to anybody for almost a year and basically did things his way and ended up winning a championship, a first-time championship for the Toronto Raptors, for the city of Toronto, who basically represents all of Canada's basketball fan base? Masai Ujiri. I want to say I am extremely sorry for not believing in you, and it was rough in the beginning there, because you let go of the coach there, and then Rosie was gone, and this is just a perfect example of like when you have a vision, you have to fall through with it, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, and when you're a champion, one last thing I want to say is you don't see what everyone else sees. You only see what you want to see. Now that might sound a little narcissistic, but you always have this feeling deep down that you're doing the right thing, and if you work hard at something, and if everything falls into place, and if the timing's right, you got a little bit of luck, and it's going to work out. That in the end, you will win a championship. And he saw that, and I just like to say thank you very much. Thank you very much for providing the city of Toronto with just such joy, and I'll be honest with you, I still don't believe it, but it is so awesome what you did, and thank you for making everybody in the city of Toronto feel like a champion.